Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Best of Both Worlds, the program where we discuss contemporary youth issues, and the points mentioned within this show will not just be narrowed down for the youth. However, practical elements will be discussed to be benefited by all, inshallah. So please, everyone, tune in. Today's topic, we will look at who are our role models. As Imam Ali says, to find more about someone, you look at the people they hang around with. Therefore, the questions that we will be discussing will be around what sort of people we should be hanging around with, who should be our role models, who are not our role models, and how do we decide whether this person is a role model for me. How do we determine that? We will also be looking at the lives of the Ahlul Bayt and how we can try to mirror their personalities. And of course, they are our role models. I'd like to welcome onto the show Sayyid Zafar Abbas. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
To start off with the first question, Sayyid, who are our role models and how do we decide whether this person is my role model for me?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi tayyibin at-tahirin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. This is a really important question because it's something that we know even from sociological studies that people, especially young people, need role models in their lives. When they don't have role models or they don't have positive role models, then they get negatively affected. It affects their behavior, it affects their lives, it affects their education, their growing up, their future. Everything is affected because of the fact of not having positive role models. So this is a really important area to look at. So we know that young people are impressionable. They would seek to look up to people for a whole host of reasons. Mostly because when you're young, you are searching for an identity. You want to have something in order to be recognized, that this is my identity, this is how I'm recognized. So you look up to people around you who have strong identities. So usually those people who have strong identities are the ones whom people make their role models. Okay, because there's, if you look at around in society, you'll see that when it comes to this area, there's probably 3 or 4 types of people. So there's one type of person who, for example, they have positive influence on other people's lives. There's another type of person, so people like, you'll find a lot of people like this person. Okay, for a variety of reasons. Then you'll find that there's another kind of person who people dislike generally. And for a whole host of reasons, lots of people dislike this person. Then you have a third kind of person who people, they don't like or they don't dislike. This person has no, there's nothing particularly excellent about them that people would like, or there's nothing really that bad which they wouldn't like. So when it comes to this kind of person is obviously not really very important when it comes to that matter of role models. Then you have a fourth kind of person. This kind of person is very important. This fourth kind of person, they have people who intensely like this person, intensely have love for them.
Popular.
And they also have intense dislike. There's also other people who have intense dislike towards this person. It's the same same measure. So this kind of person, so obviously you have the people who try and make everyone happy. They're not consistent, they don't have any principles, because all they're looking for is to try and make everyone happy. On the other hand, you got people who nobody's happy with, so obviously those people we're not interested in them either. We're interested in this group of people who bring about this intense love, intense liking, and intense disliking. So in this regard, you'll find that, for example, you have sports men and women who bring about this kind of intense liking and disliking, right? Due to, for example, their team affiliations or their own characteristics, or the fact that they are well known and famous and people know about them, or people have some kind of affinity with them. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's loads of examples of this, right? For example, there's a football player who plays for a particular club that I support, for example, and then he moves, gets a transfer, and he goes to a different club.
You don't like him anymore, yeah?
So now you have a divided loyalty, right? Because you like this person, but he's gone to a rival club. Okay, so you'll find that some people who have this loyalty towards their team, and they will say, no, if he's left and gone to a different club, now I don't like you anymore. But there's some people who say, no, I like that player. Okay, so their loyalty is not with the club, their loyalty is with the player. So they were like, it doesn't matter where he's gone, I like him because, XYZ reason. Or, for example, there's other popular people who are in the media, or they're musicians or singers or so on and so forth. And these kind of people also evoke strong reactions in people. They either like them or dislike them. And you find that it's very intense. It's very common to see young people, especially young men, arguing over which football player is better than the other one, trying to prove that their team's player is better than other team's player, because it's invoking that strong reaction in them. Okay. Similarly, for example, when if they're arguing over, this musician is better than that musician, or this singer is better than that singer, or this actor.
As in going into that, as technology is advancing, everyone's got an iPhone, everyone's got an Android. We can just go on social media and straight away start following people. They can become our role models, even though we may not even know sometimes. Like you've mentioned, footballers and musicians and even actors, can we look to these guys as role models? I think you did touch on it. If there is positive aspects coming out of them, then we can.
So what we need to...
And why do some people, look at these people as role models?
So like I said, they have this power within their personality, okay, to evoke this reaction for various different reasons, okay, and it's either for positive reasons or for negative reasons, but they have this power of ability that is within their personality. And of course they're famous, they're well known, people know about them, they're all over media, social media, all these kind of things. So that's why people get attracted towards those people. But the interesting thing is, and the reason why I mentioned all of this thing, the interesting thing is, of course, is that when I make any one of these people my role models, I am not getting any benefit from them. On the contrary, if I've made them my role model, for example, then I'm going to have to put in my own investment into proving that they're my role models, whether it means that I'm going to buy the shirt with his name on the back, or I'm going to buy the album, or I'm going to buy the whatever, so on and so forth. But that's going to be me spending money on them, right? Because I like them. Or it's going to be me going the effort of following them, or watching the game which they're in, or watching the whatever, the film or the movie, whichever they're appearing in. That's all going to be effort from me, right? Financially, time-wise, so on and so forth. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if you want to make somebody or you want to be with someone, then that being with someone has to give you some benefit as well.
There's
right?
no benefit back from these people.
If I like a football player,
Yeah.
or I like a musician, or I like a singer, or I like an actor, they're not going to.
Now you get football players who are actually promoting good things, like Mo Salah, for example.
Right.
Can we still follow him?
Right. So if they're promoting good things, there's not like I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with following them in the sense that if they're promoting good things, that's great.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that when we are, even when they're promoting good things, and if I'm going to support that person, it's still me putting in the effort into doing something which ultimately they're going to benefit. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, we have a hadith from Imam Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam, where, like you mentioned earlier, about who you associate with or who you're close to. So if you look at this, if you examine this particular point, then you'll see that in reality we have to associate with those people, we have to make those people our role model who would positively influence me in terms of my character and give me benefit, like real tangible benefit, right? For example, Amirul Mu'minin says that if you like something in somebody, then try to imitate it, because then it will become part of your nature. Or try and be with those people. Okay? So in reality, our role models have to be those people who would give me benefit in terms of uplifting me spiritually, uplifting me in this life, uplifting me into making me into a better person. Now that means that, for example, if there's somebody at university who's going to educationally uplift me, that person can be my role model. If there's someone at work who's going to professionally uplift me, that person can be my role model. If there's somebody in my own friend circle who is going to lift me up, right? Who's going to bring me up, who's going to help me come up, then that person can be my role model. Why? Because that person is helping me in a positive way, right? Without any wanting anything in return. Right? If I'm doing charity, for example, or if I'm helping someone with their intention that person is going to help me some other time, then I'm not doing anybody favors. I'm doing a business transaction. I'm helping you because you're going to help me, right? But if I'm helping you because I can help you and there's no vested interest, then that really shows the level of what the religion wants me to be. Okay? And that kind of person or that kind of characteristic would be my role model.
Okay. Do parents have a say in this? Because you can have someone who's grown up in a society which is less economically developed, for example, and the friends that are around that area may not be seen as positive people. So do the parents have responsibility to making sure that the kids which are vulnerable at a young age are basically keep an eye on them to make sure that they're not going down the route of having the wrong role models?
Absolutely. I think it's very important at any stage or any place, whether it's less economically developed, more economically developed, irrespective of that, for the older generation, inshallah we're going to look at that in another program, the elder generation to play that positive role and provide those positive role models in their children's lives, in order to make sure that they don't, like we said, if you leave it empty, if you don't give somebody good role models, then they're going to find role models irrespective, because they need them. Okay,
it's just a natural thing.
They need people to look up to, and this is a sociological thing. There's been loads of studies about this, especially on inner city, populations where people, because of lack of role models or lack of positive role models in their lives, get affected by crime, by drugs, by all kinds of wrong and illegal activities because of that lack of positive role models. So that's a very important point, and inshallah, like we said, we'll look at that
I think myself, growing up, the area that I was growing up in wasn't the best of areas, and the role models around me were possibly not the best, I guess. The friend group then was different to the friend group now. As soon as I left that area and went to university, things changed, and the group of friends changed. So alhamdulillah, I managed to come out of the friend zone that I had before. Okay, next question. Okay, so what does the Quran and Hadith say about this?
Right, so like we said, for example, the Quran tells us regarding being with people that أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. O you who believe, have taqwa for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and be with the truthful ones. So that tells us that this is a important characteristic. This is an important thing, that you have to be with those who are truthful, who are sadiqeen. This tells us that, or it tells us the severity of lying, that even sometimes we say things which are not true, jokingly, mockingly, not in a serious way. But even that is, we have riwayat and narrations about this that say that even jokingly, mockingly saying a lie is haram. Okay, and we know why this is, because there's not even any need for any ayat, any hadith, any story to tell us about the danger of lying. We know that in every code, every social system, and every society, lying is considered a bad thing. Okay?
Absolutely.
We know why that is as well. It's very obvious that if people lie, they don't say the truth, they don't speak the truth, it leads to all kinds of other evil deeds. Or people who have done evil to cover up their evil, to cover up their crimes, will lie. And this also is very well known and common thing that happens. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that for you to become truthful, for you to be away from lying, I want you to be with those ma'as sadiqeen. So I want you to be with those who are truthful. Why? Imam Amirul Mu'minin narration that he says that if you are with somebody, then you would be like them. The example that is given in the books of philosophy explaining this particular point about ma'iyyat is that if you put the iron in the fire, it will start to melt, and after some time it will become part of the fire, because it's melted to that extent and it's in the fire and it continues to burn. It will become part of the fire. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if you are with the truthful ones, then you will be like that iron that's been put into the fire, that it will eventually, it becomes part of what it is put into, part of what it is near.
Okay.
So this is a particularly important thing, that we need to make sure that the people who we make our role models are people who would, in the first instance, give us benefit, and in the second instance would take us towards a positive path. This is a very important area.
Okay. Now, looking at the lives of the Ahlul Bayt, I'm sure we can learn a lot from them, and they all are role models. As it is the Fatimiyya period, can we share some light on Bibi Fatima and look at her in a different angle, on how she is a role model to us?
Right. So if we look at the hadith of the Holy Prophet of Islam regarding her, which is a very unique hadith, the unique statement that he makes, and it's a statement that he doesn't make about anybody else. This is really remarkable. In this hadith that he says about Hazrat Zahra salamullah alaiha, he doesn't say about anybody else. So he says, Fatimatu bad'atun minni. Okay, Fatima is a part of me. He doesn't say this about anybody else. No other person in the universe does the Prophet say bad'atun minni. In other words, a part of, a ba'd of me, a part of me. What does he mean by a part? Not a part of my physical being, a part of my physical existence. No. A part of my prophethood, a part of my message, a part of what I am. The Holy Quran says, وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ. The Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is not anything except that he's the messenger. Okay? So, she is a part of what he is as the messenger of God. Okay? Now there's many aspects of this. One aspect, for example, is that all the prophets, all the Aimma alayhi salam are all men. And if there's nobody as a role model for women to show how it is that certain things which are exclusive to women are supposed to be done, how they're supposed to be understood, how they're supposed to deal with those issues, and there's nobody to explain that to them, then that's an injustice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that there are things which are exclusive to women and there's no women to explain that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no, we made Fatima salamullah alayha as a part of the Holy Prophet of Islam to tell you that she is for the women just like the men, the Holy Prophet of Islam is for the men. Okay, so that in itself is a very amazing thing, that she is for the women in the same way as Rasulullah is for the men. That's one.
Okay.
Two is to show that this is how close she is to me, not on the physical sense. No, this is how close she is to me on the level of being part of my prophethood, right? That when, for example, he gets up from his place and he asks her to sit in the same place that he's sitting in, he's telling the people that I'm respecting, this is one part of prophethood, respecting another part of the prophet, of Nabuwwat and Risala. That's another aspect.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you there.
Yeah.
We'll go into a break now, and then the third aspect we'll discuss
Inshallah
on our continuation.
Inshallah.